The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
1-800-610-7035, worldwide toll free. Our email address is xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is a gentleman we've had the pleasure of having on the X-Zone a number of times. Unfortunately, with his busy schedule, we haven't been able to get him on for the past couple of years, but we finally nailed him down. And we're going to be speaking to one of the most prolific authors when it comes to the paranormal. Stephen A. LaChance is my guest this hour. His website is www.stephenalachance.com. And we're going to be talking to Stephen about, well, he's got a new book that's coming out entitled Blessed Are the Wicked, which chronicles the relentless assaults of malevolent forces against Stephen and the close-knit community of Union, Missouri. And Stephen, first of all, welcome back to the X-Zone. It's so great talking to you, my friend. Last time you were on with us, we were talking about the events in that house that drove your family to the end of horrors, for goodness sake. And now you're coming out with a sequel. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. You know, I tend to think of it more as a continuation. I don't know, the sequel word kind of scares me a little bit, but I had more to say. Rob, and I thought, well, you know, it took some time and some healing, and I thought, well, now's the time to do this.
For our listeners who may not have had the pleasure of listening to you in the past here on the X-Zone, can you give them a little idea what the first book was about?
Well, the first book was about us, my family and I, moving into a house in Union, Missouri on May 18th, 2001. Mm-hmm. Shortly after we moved in, things began to happen of a horrible, violent nature. Little things at first, like lights, all the lights in the house being found on when we come home. And then it moved on to the children being terrorized. My youngest son at one time, whenever he was out of arm's reach, I would find him screaming in a bad state. And then, you know, I started seeing the things, and I started hearing them. And one night, after witnessing a shadow figure come out of the kitchen, we went to leave the house, and it was an old house. I went to put the key into the front door. House began to scream. And so the kids heard it, the dogs heard it in the neighborhood, everybody heard it, actually. And that was the first time it chased us out, but I did end up going back with the kids, and then it locked them into their bedroom on the downstairs level, and would not let me get in to get them for a period of time. I actually had to throw my body against the door to break the door down. And by the time I got to my youngest daughter, she was in shock, and I carried her out of the house with something on my feet that I never turned around to see what it was.
How are your children now?
They're grown. They're grown and they're good.
Excellent.
Yeah, they are. My daughter's a mother with three beautiful daughters now, so I'm a grandfather. And, my middle son is working on his doctorate in chemistry, and then my other son is going into law enforcement. So.
Wow. Did the experiences that you had affect them psychologically, or were they able just to block it out of their memories?
Well, it affected them psychologically, sure. I mean, there was a period of time that, we were all putting ourselves back together. And it was a continual process that took years to get accomplished. But, the one thing that did it for us, I think that we were so close and we were so tight-knit that we really could lean on each other, and that was the important thing that got us through it.
Sure. Family unity is the strongest bond, and I believe that love can fight and conquer any negativity that there is, as well as the faith of the family unity as well. Stephen, you and I have to take a commercial break. Please stand by, my friend. Great having you back with us, and congratulations on your continuation book. We won't call it a sequel. Exonation. My special guest this hour is Stephen A. LaChance. He is the author of Blessed Are the Wicked. His website is www.stephenalachance.com. That's STEVENALACHANCE. And Stephen and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as the X Zone continues right here from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you'd like to send an email, if you'd like to suggest a guest, if you'd like to suggest a show topic, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. We'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as we continue talking to our guest this hour, Stephen LaChance. Here in the X Zone, after all, this is a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern on the X Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of international affiliates. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. Stephen A. LaChance is our guest, www.stephenalachance.com. And we're talking about Stephen's new book entitled Blessed Are the Wicked. Tell us about your book, Stephen.
Well, the thing is that when you live through a haunting, sometimes people think that when you close the front door to that haunting, it's done. I remember there was one period of time when we had just been through a really bad bout of something. And I thought, wow, I had an oppression lifted with a blessing from a priest and such. And I was thinking it was over. And I was talking with Lorraine Warren at that moment. And I got really angry with her, Rob, because she said to me, she goes, it's far from over, And I didn't understand what she was saying it to me at that moment. But as the years went by, you begin to realize that her words were wisdom and not, something to harm. The things just kept going on and different things happening. And then the understanding of the haunting, and that sort of thing. So I had a woman who was a psychic, and I know what you think about psychics, and I usually do too. Is down in I remember you, sir. So she was down in Louisiana, and she looked at me and she said, "You know what?" She had read the book, and she said, "I think you really need to write another book." And I'm like, "Well, I don't want to write another book because I don't want to relive all of that."
Yeah.
And she goes, "No," she goes, "for healing, you need to do it." And you know what? She was right. Yeah. Because once I started writing it took me 3 years. That's why you haven't heard from me. I went into this process of healing and stuff with this book, and I dissected it. And I dissected a haunting to the point where people, I think, once you read this book, you'll have a good understanding on how these things work and how they affect lives.
Steve, was the television movie The Conjuring based on your story?
No, sir.
No way.
The Conjuring was not. No, sir. A Haunting did it for Discovery Channel. They did an episode called Fear House. That was what I call a Disney version of the story.
So how do you explain to people that what you went through was real, and no, it wasn't something that you and the family did just to get a little bit of 15 minutes of fame? Now, I know better than that. I know you better than that, and I know the fear, and I know the problems that you and your family went through. I believe, but how do you deal with the skepticism that I'm sure you must be faced with at times?
Well, you are, but the thing is that you can't look at somebody that doesn't understand or chooses not to believe is that something bad, because at one point I was like them. I understand them. But you have to also stop, and my mom said it to me right before I decided to do this and really start talking about it. She said to me, she goes, Stephen, she goes, you're going to get some people that are going to look at you and go, well, I don't know if I believe this. And she said, just remember this. It is what it is. You're not going to change it for anybody to make it feel more uncomfortable. And you just tell the truth, boy, and you go and do it. And she understood that I needed to do this not only for myself, but maybe for someone else out there that was going through what I did, because when I went looking for help in the beginning, I couldn't find it. So,
what is your advice to someone who may be listening tonight and they're faced with some unknown entity, and they don't want to talk about it because they don't want people to feel that there's something wrong with them, or that they themselves are the cause of the problems that they're facing? Where do people who need help with this go?
Now I'd say come to me, and I'll direct you to where you need to go.
Sure.
Because I've built up that kind of network for people that need help. The most important thing is to understand that the people out there that you reach out to that do this work are not going to look at you like you're crazy. Because I remember that was one of the first things I said to somebody: please don't think I'm crazy. And that, I've been said, people have said that to me through the years too. But that is the main concern. No one's going to think you're crazy, even if it's paranormal, even if it's not paranormal. What we're going to do is we're going to try to figure it out and get to the bottom of it, so we can solve this thing for you, so you can move on with your life. That is the best thing. That is the best thing you can tell someone.
How do you explain to people that evil is real? That it's not just something that is talked about. It's not just something that's in books, but it is real.
That's a hard one, because it's one of these things. Even sometimes when you think you have a person to the point of understanding, they don't. And that's the most difficult thing. And the other thing is their participation with that evil. I always tell people to look at it this way: the universe is made up of positive and negative when we look at it.